Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you're joining us today in today's live lecture, coming to you from Nkolo Mahadum Wisdom University. Today's date is Nkwo Market Day in the Igbo lunar calendar, and 10/7/25 in the Roman Catholic calendar. And remember that at Nkolo Mahadum, we always advise you to use your naturally given common sense, which we call Akonuche in Igbo language. Also, this university, this Mahadum, was set up to provide you with the correct education, the correct information, and the correct direction to move you away from the misinformation and miseducation and misdirection from our colonial masters and their institutions and their stooges in our land and across the world. And we encourage you to join us, follow us, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, because we package our lectures from the Igbo man, Biafran, and African perspectives, because we want you to be seeing things from the way it concerns you, from how it concerns you. You don't see things from how it concerns other cultures. No, you see things from how it concerns you. And please like, comment, and share. Share these lectures to get to everybody. And in addition, also go back to our previous lectures and you'll be happy that you did. The title of today's lecture is Some Items in the Nigerian Government Exclusive List that Creates Insecurity and Poverty in Nigeria. Some items in the government exclusive list that creates insecurity and poverty in Nigeria, and vis-a-vis in Igbo land and Biafra land. Because whatever is happening at Abuja also affects our people. And that is why this lecture is important. How did 1999 Constitution come to be? According to Omoyele Sowore, we, the preamble in that Constitution, in 1999 Constitution, that says we, the people of Nigeria, that gave us this Constitution, was a fallacy and the biggest lie ever told in Nigeria's legal and political history. That it was the military junta of Abdul Salami Abubakar that doctored the 1979 Constitution with few military decrees and baptized it, nicknamed it the 1999 Constitution. And according to Wikipedia, this Constitution was enacted on May 29th, 1999 to jumpstart the Fourth Republic. You know that the democracy Nigeria is practicing now is the Fourth Republic, which was started by President Obasanjo after coming out of the prison in the Fourth Republic. And this 1999 Constitution has two sections. There's one they call the concurrent list. The concurrent list lists the powers of the federal and state legislators. That is, in the concurrent list, it itemizes, it lists all the things, all the matters that the Federal National Assembly and the state assemblies can deliberate on. That is called the concurrent list. And then the exclusive list, which we are concerned about, are matters reserved only for the federal authority, for the federal government, not the states or local governments. These are the where you have some of the matters and items that creates insecurity and poverty in Nigeria and vis-a-vis in Igbo land and Biafra land. Because when the people are not secured, when there's insecurity and poverty, what is the essence of having those items in the exclusive list? Because one of the challenges of Nigeria is over-centralization. Over-centralization of everything is one of the biggest problems facing not only Nigeria, but many African countries, because the governmental structures that was put in place by the colonial masters are governmental structures that are favorable to the colonial masters, where everything is concentrated in the hands of the few elites that are working with them to exploit and therefore transfer most of the resources from our land into the colonial masters. If not, most of these items that we will point out in this lecture are not supposed to be in the exclusive list, that it is only the federal government that should be handling those matters, because it is creating insecurity and poverty in our land. One of such items in the exclusive list is the issue of airports. Yes, the state governments can, build airports, but those airports, the federal government decides which one will be international airports and which one will not be international airports. It is important that the federal government remove the issue of airport business from the exclusive list and give it back to the states or even local governments, because we are in a free capitalist world. Each state decide whether this airport will be international or local or however they want to use it, as long as that airport is making money for them. Even if they are losing money, it is not the federal government that is losing money, it is the states. And therefore, most of the decision about the operation, the airport operation, should be left in the hand of the states and not in the hand of the federal government. Also, the issue of election. The issue of election should not be concentrated with the federal authority, because the issue of election should be left in the hand of the states or even local governments, because you have this INEC in Nigeria. What have they achieved? They have not been able to, have a free and fair election that will actually pronounce results of those that won the election that the people voted for. What we are seeing is cash and carry election, which is not what the people want. The people want to vote for a person that they know will represent them very, very well. Therefore, the issue of election should not be in the federal exclusive list just for the federal government. It shouldn't be. Another important item that shouldn't be on the federal exclusive list just for the federal government is the issue of fisheries in rivers and lakes and waterways and ponds or whatever you call it. The issue of fishery should be allowed, should be given back to the states. The states should be the ones deciding whichever water they want to fish or not fish. It shouldn't be in the hands of the federal government. This idea of having the federal government, meddling into things and situations they shouldn't be meddling into is not helping the masses, because when you decentralize these things, then the people at the local government, the people at the villages will be able to have more jobs opportunities. They can do it better than the federal government. And therefore, we are suggesting that the issue of fishing, fisheries, and other things concerning the rivers and waterways should be left in the states where those rivers are located, except in where we have big ocean that, pass across the state. That then what is some nautical miles away from the, states, like in big ocean, like in the Atlantic Ocean, then that one, the federal government can come in on that side. But as far as all these rivers and lakes across the states and local governments, it should be left for the local governments and states to manage, and not the federal government. Also, another issue in the exclusive list that is not supposed to be there is the issue of incorporation of businesses, patents, trademarks, trade and business names, and industrial designs. These things should be allowed to be operating in the states or even the local governments. It shouldn't be in the hand of the federal government. These are some of the over-centralization that is actually not helping not only Nigeria, but most nations across the world from benefiting the masses that they are meant to represent and to serve. Another important matter that shouldn't be in the federal exclusive list is seaports. The establishment of seaports allow the states and local governments to decide how many seaports they want to have. We are practicing free market capitalism. And in free market capitalism, anybody is free to enter and exit. What that means is anybody is free to start to open a business and also free to close it down. Allow the states and local government to decide whether they want to go into seaport business. If it's okay with the local government and the state, they should be allowed to do it. What the federal government could do is to provide the standard. This is how I want you to build the airport. These are things I need in that, seaport, as well as airports. These are the things that I need to be there. So as long as they are there, allow the states and local governments to operate these seaports, because when you do, the masses will have a lot of job opportunities. It will benefit the masses. It will decrease poverty. It will decrease insecurity. Because most of the insecurity we are having in Nigeria and other African countries is because of poverty. Where people don't have job, what do you expect them to do? So some of these items must be removed from the exclusive list and given back to the states. It's very, very important, because while we decided to use this as a lecture today is because what is happening in Nigeria is affecting our people. It's affecting the Igbo people and affecting Biafrans. And it is important that we advise the Nigerian government to do the right thing, to decrease poverty and improve security for our people. Another important item that should be immediately removed from that exclusive list is the issue of mines and minerals, including oil fields, oil mining, geological surveys, and natural gas. These things are located in the villages, and some of them are located in family lands. It should be left. The federal government should remove their hand from it. Design a way by which these communities will be paying some amount of, tax or something to the federal government. But the issue of mining the resources that is in one's land should be left for the people that own that land. After all, everybody comes from somewhere. All these people in Abuja and state capitals, don't they come from villages? They come from villages that have resources. And therefore, all the mines, all the minerals, including oil fields, oil mining, geological surveys, and natural gas exploitation should be left in the hands of the family or village or town or state that own them. The federal government should remove their hand from all these minings and design a program of paying some money into the federal accounts. This will create more jobs for the people. This will create more opportunity for the people, thereby decreasing poverty and increasing security. Another important issue is the police force. Always you have this Nigerian police force. And Nigerian police force is it's not working. It's not working because we hear stories, you go to call the police. The police people will make you pay them money before they can even follow you. And if you are two Biafrans or two Igbo people, you call police for your brother. Police will be collecting money from Mr. A and collecting from Mr. B. They will be listening to who is the highest bidder. The highest bidder is the one they're going to be following. Sometimes when Mr. A called police for Mr. B, who has offended Mr. A, police will be collecting money from Mr. A and Mr. B. And Mr. B, the offender, pays police more money. Mr. B will be freed by the police. Before the Mr. A comes to the police station, Mr. B is already gone. That is how they are operating. So the current Nigerian police force, they are not efficient. You should have state police, local government police, and even village police. You don't have to have only one police force. So the issue of having this Nigerian police centralized in Abuja should be stopped immediately. It is causing insecurity because they don't have enough men and ammunitions, the tools they need to work. They don't have enough to cover the whole area, the whole land of Nigeria. Plus, it will create more jobs in the local governments or in the states and with better results. So the issue of policing should be decentralized to the states. This has been going on for how many years now? For the federal government to decentralize the police force to the local governments or the states. That's what you need to do. Because having this Nigerian police force from Abuja, from the center, is not helping the situation. Rather, it is also increasing insecurity and increasing poverty in our land. The another issue, which is very important, that they should remove from the exclusive list, is the issue of the powers of the National Assembly and their privileges and immunity of their members. Why should you have immunity for National Assembly members or anybody working for the government? Remove all the immunity now, and you will see Nigeria and other African countries 100% more better than what we have today. If you remove this immunity over these legislators today, they will start working. They will know that they are equal with any other person. Why should they have immunity? Immunity should also be removed on the governors and the president. Anybody serving in the federal government, you should remove the immunity. that immunity is not helping our people, because those people who have been opportune, who are lucky to be given the opportunity to serve the people, that's enough. That you are called upon to serve is enough than also providing you with immunity, whereby whatever you do, nobody will ask you a question or talk to you about it. That's not good. It should be removed immediately from the exclusive list. Those are the things that are causing insecurity and poverty in our land. Because when these government representatives, whether you are a president or governor or national legislator or occupying any federal or state position, which is a public position, it's a public position where you are serving the people. So why should we be given immunity? There shouldn't be any immunity, and that should be removed from the exclusive list. Another issue that is very important that should be removed from the federal exclusive list is the public holidays. Come on, you need to remove the public holidays from the exclusive list. Of course, you can have your flag independence holiday, or the ones you declare with the Muslims and Christians. But the states will have a chance also to have their own holiday. Local governments can have their own holiday. Villages can have their own holidays. On the day that we are having Ewaji in my village, we can declare a public holiday, or in my town, we can have a public holiday that day, and the government will pay any worker that doesn't come to work that day as a benefit. So having public holidays as in the exclusive list makes things look like we don't know what we are doing. The villages, even families, villages, towns, you have the right to have their own public holiday. On the day of our cultural extravaganza, for example, Imo Day in Oka, we should be able to have a public holiday. And the government should pay every worker working in the government, in any government position from Oka that day, should be paid, because it is a cultural celebration that the people needed. After all, government is for the people. So the issue of having public holidays as in the exclusive list doesn't make any sense at all. The final point that we are suggesting that should be removed from the exclusive list is the formation and annulment and dissolution of marriages. What has the federal government has to do with marriages? Marriages is something that occurs in the lowest level, in the villages, in the family and villages and towns. Why should we have it in the exclusive list? And so it doesn't make sense. Remove formation, annulment, and dissolution of marriages, bring it down to the family, bring it down to the village. That is where it belongs, and not to the federal authority or federal government. These are the few items we feel that should not be in the exclusive list. It should be decentralized, because over-centralization is the major problem we are having, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa. And so this lecture is important because we want you to know that most of all these things in the exclusive list, that is, which means only the federal government can do them, it is contributing to insecurity and poverty. Because when the people don't have job, when the people are not being taken care of, there's no social welfare to take care of the people. When the people are hungry, when the people are ready to work but don't have anything to do, that is where you are having all this insecurity and poverty across Nigeria and Africa and other nations. And that's why we think it's important that we use this as part of our lecture today. And then the title of today's lecture is that some items in the Nigerian exclusive list that creates insecurity and poverty. Because those items in the exclusive list means it is only the federal government that can do them. The states are not allowed to do them. The local governments are not allowed to do them, talk less of the village or family. And that is over-centralization. And the 1999 Constitution is what they are using now in this their Fourth Republic, the Fourth Republic that was started by Obasanjo. They are using the 1999 Constitution. And that 1999 Constitution, according to Omoyele Sowore said that the preamble, the starting of that Constitution, that we the people came to write this Constitution and gave it to Nigeria, was a fallacy and the biggest lie ever told in Nigeria's legal and political history. According to Sowore, that it was the military junta, Abdul Salami Abubakar, that doctored the 1979 Constitution with few military decrees and then nicknamed it, baptized it, called it the 1999 Constitution. That's what Omoyele Sowore said. And then Wikipedia also stated that 1999 Constitution was enacted on May 29th, 1999 to kickstart the Fourth Republic, which we are now in. Whatever Nigeria is practicing now under this their foreign democracy is under the Fourth Republic. And we want you to know that this 1999 Constitution has two sections, the one they call the concurrent list and then the exclusive list. And then the concurrent list is the powers of the federal and state legislators, the powers of the National Assembly and the state legislators. And then in the exclusive list includes all the matters reserved for the federal authority. Only the federal government can do them, not the states or local governments. And that's what we are saying. If you look at that list, there are a total of 68 items in the exclusive list. 68. And we are saying that most of the things in that exclusive list is not supposed to be so. They need to be decentralized back to the people. And so we are saying that the building of airports and the decision whether an airport will be cargo, will be international, will be local, should be left to the states who build them, or the local government that build them. The issue of building of airports should be left to, this is a business. And we are in free market capitalism. Free market capitalism means you are free to start a business, you're also free to close it down. That's what it means. So if you're not making money, you close down. If you're making money, you keep your business. And so the issue of airport construction and whether the airport will be international or local or cargo should be left to the states to operate, while the federal government will only render supervisory function. The federal government should only perform supervisory function and not to say this cannot be or that cannot be. That is wrong. Also, the issue of election, we are saying, the idea of having this INEC, over-centralized INEC, should be decentralized and give the states the power to run the election. That's how it's done everywhere. Have the states to run the election the way they want. And then in the presidential election, the state decide whom they want to vote for. This idea of over-centralization of INEC to be conducting an election have not been helpful to our people, to Ndibo, to Biafrans, and even to Africa in general. And so we are suggesting that the issue of election, having an election, should be decentralized to the states and local governments. Another important issue is the issue of fishing, fisheries, and others in rivers and lakes. And these lakes and rivers belong to the family and villages and towns. Why should the federal government be meddling into that? The states and local governments and families should decide, and villages should decide how to manage the resources, the natural resources in their waters, and not the federal government. Another issue is the incorporation of businesses, patents, trademarks, trade and business names, and industrial designs and merchandise marks. This should be left for the local governments, or even the villages, or the states. The federal government don't have anything to do here, because all these things that we are enumerating, when decentralized to the villages, to the cities, to the local governments, to the states, we create more job. And when the people have more job, insecurity will decrease, poverty will decrease, than over concentration of everything into the federal hands. Another important issue is the issue of building of seaports. Like we have said before, we are in free market capitalism. And in that free market capitalism, everybody decides whether to start a business or not to start a business. So allow the states, the local governments, the villages to decide whether they want to go into seaport business. It's a business. Leave it open. If you're not making money, then you close that. If you see that the projection is not going to give you money, then you will not do it. Federal government should remove their hand from deciding where to locate this seaport or that seaport. It should be allow the states and local governments or even the villages to be making that decision. Another important one, again, is the mining. The mines, minerals, including oil fields, oil mining, geological surveys, and natural gas should be left for the family, villages, and towns, not the federal government. After all, the gold in Zamfara belongs to Zamfara. So allow the states to have control, have a system where they'll be paying some money to the federal government. I think that will make more sense. And then the issue of police. We have said this many times, and many people have been saying that issue of state police. What are we waiting for? The federal this, federal that is not working in our land. And therefore, the federal police should be decentralized. After all, every policeman came from a village. They should go back to their villages. It will create more jobs and decrease insecurity in our land. Also, the issue of the powers of the National Assembly and the privileges and immunities of its members. Why should we be giving immunity to people working for us? Why should we give them immunity? If they do something wrong, they should face the law or leave the job. That will make them more serious. That will give us better results than what we currently have right now. So the issue of immunity should be removed from the president to the governors, to those in the National Assembly, to judges, to anybody serving in the public service should not have any form of immunity. And if we do that today, you will see tremendous improvements in our lives, in the lives of our people. It will decrease insecurity and decrease poverty. Another important issue is the issue of declaration of holidays. Why should the federal government be the one declaring holidays? The holiday declaration should be left, except for the flag independence holiday and the one they announced for the Christians and the Muslims. Otherwise, a family can have holiday, villages can have holiday, depending on what is going on in the village. If it's time for their cultural masquerade, cultural performance, or irigi, or any other thing that the village wants to have holiday for, it should be approved and workers should be paid. The same thing goes to the local government, and the states should be allowed to have a holiday that is they feel that is conducive for them. It is very, very important. And then lastly, the formation and annulment or dissolution of marriages. What has the federal government to do with marriages? Marriages which is down in the family level, village level. It shouldn't be. So federal government should remove all these things from the exclusive list so that our people can benefit by decreasing poverty and insecurity in our land. And with this, we shall be bringing today's lecture to an end. But before we end it, we have to please beg you again to please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Like, comment, and share. And join us. Hit the bell button to join us, to subscribe. It is very, very important. Finally, Africans should wake up and dismantle all the colonial boundaries in Africa, because they are the sources of the poverty, wars, migration, hatred, intimidation, harassment, killings, imprisonment of our people. And with this, we shall bring it to this lecture to an end. Thank you very much for joining me. Today, we're gonna have 2 lectures, to have an interview coming up with one of our important international analysts. He's gonna be analyzing so many things, starting from the just concluded United Nations General Assembly and other international issues as it concerns Ndi Igbo, Ndi Biafra, and Ndi Africa. And with this, we shall bring into this lecture. And thank you very much for joining me. Have a very, very good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.